Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Steve and I are back as we continue our look into the Hammer horror film series with Nightmare, directed by Freddie Francis. A young woman is plagued by nightmares of her asylum-patient mother. Upon returning to her family home, the nightmares become real when she sees a strange woman pacing the halls. And no budget information for this one. I'm funny feeling this is a bit of an indie production or one of their not main release.
Well, I was noticing that the only copy available on film is held by the BFI.
Mm-hmm.
No one else has got one. And if you notice on things like I had to watch it on YouTube because I couldn't find
Yeah,
another.
same here.
And it actually says it's a rare copy on YouTube. There's only the one person that has actually put it up. But it's not one that I've heard of or seen before. I don't think they ever included it on when they used to do triple bills in the 70s, or double bills, And
I'm starting to think that we only got a handful of releases that they're repeated. It must be a licensing thing. They only got the license for a few films
yeah,
and not the whole back catalogue. And then obviously, well, look at TV now. It's repeats and reruns continuously. Like, why anyone would subscribe to TV channels today, I don't know, because that's all they do, reruns.
Yeah.
So I think growing up, especially through TV, that we have only ever seen a handful of the Hammer film catalog. And don't forget, this is only the horror section. Hammer Films did loads, like hundreds of movies of all genres. A lot of crime thrillers, a lot of adventure. Sinbad, and they did a lot of Sinbad movies.
Yeah,
and so forth. So they spanned the whole genre from the studio. But even just this section, like, I think we're unearthing a whole catalog, like a whole slew of movies people may not have heard about.
Yeah,
I'm sure if it brings people attention to them, and like, I like this one, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought what made it that little bit more atmospheric as well was the black and white. I felt that it sort of, it wasn't the same.
It's like a film noir, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it sort of brought in the same tension and atmosphere as Hitchcock's Psycho with the black and white, and yeah, it's very, very clever film. And I had to watch it. Like, in fact, I watched a bit before I come on here again tonight because it's not a complicated story. It's just
no. It's a very straightforward.
It's just story, like something that you've got to think. Hold on, that person's there, and that person's there. What actually? Yeah, but no, it was very, very. It's. I think it's. It brought Hammer back into line a bit, which it's directed by Freddie Francis, who is one of their regular ones, isn't he? Him and Terence Fisher seem to be the main directors.
Staples, yeah.
And if you remember, the last one of Freddie Francis films wasn't special, but this one, it's. I thought it was very, very good. But
back to your point. A film doesn't need to be complicated to be good. A story doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, what we're seeing today is overcomplication of stories, throwing too much into the pot because people think, oh, we couldn't just do that. We'll have to be intellectual, we'll have to be high thinking, or I have to show how clever I am. And usually when somebody's trying to show how clever they do the opposite. And we see now, like, all these extraneous plot points and side stories that get thrown into a simple movie. There's one, Beetlejuice, the sequel to the original, just a comedy. No, but it's a simple comedy. It's not meant to be anything. It's just a bit of fun.
I didn't know
the second one they put out, they thought, oh, we'll have to do this, we'll have to do that, we'll have to do the other. And had about 6 or 7 storylines run at once.
Yeah.
Through a supposed lighthearted comedy.
Yeah.
And it just ruined it because there's too much going on and nothing got resolved.
Yeah.
and you just end up feeling unsatisfied at the end. That's just an example of taking something really, really simple and making it overcomplicated.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't. It was sort of film that you had to watch, a couple of times to actually get the feel of. Perhaps you got the story and you got the gist of it, but you had to sort of rewind and think, oh yeah, hold on, how did that happen? How did that fit in? And
I had a bit of trouble with Janet's character.
I thought she was way overacting.
Yeah,
She was going for the Oscar, wasn't she?
yeah. Also, her demeanor,
Oh
you didn't quite get where she was coming from, so she didn't really cry damsel in distress
no.
because there was a bit of a frostiness to her, and I don't know whether it was just taking the dialogue and being a bit wooden about it, because she was wooden in a lot of areas and then overacting. Like there was no mid range with her.
And in her screaming, she was,
Yep. It's also difficult, sort of 1950s, 1960s. Like the style of the era, women looked as if they were middle aged. Like from
the hairstyles, wasn't it?
it's the hairstyle, the makeup, something. They looked middle aged.
Yeah.
So you can't really reconcile. This is a young girl. This is a teenager. Because they don't look like teenagers.
Yeah, because she was at school, and I thought she looks too old to be at school.
Yeah, that was the thing. She looks almost the same age as her teacher.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're sort of scratching your head, going, "There's something not right here."
Yeah, when she went home, she looked the same age as the woman who was looking after her.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Are you talking about Marge? Is it Marge? The nurse that was brought in?
Yeah, the nurse woman.
I think it was
I'm not
Marge.
getting terrible with names.
I'm having to highlight names now because it's
Mary was it?
Mary was the school teacher.
Mary. Yeah, she was a school teacher.
She looked the same age as well.
Grace took over from Miss Gibbs. No, she was the
Grace. It was Grace.
waiter. Yeah, Grace.
Grace, sorry.
But they all looked around the same age.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be a kid, and she's an older person.
So basically, it starts off. She's in school and she's having these nightmares, and it turns out her mother was placed in an asylum for murdering her father, just randomly. Which is fair enough. That's going to mess up anybody, especially when she found her. She was like 11.
Yeah.
She was only like 11 when it was funny because when we get the flashback to when she was 11, she looked younger. The kid that had played looked younger than 11.
Yeah.
It's hard to when you can't get your brain, or you can't get certain plot points of this person's this age and they should act like this, or this person's that age and this is their demeanor, or this is these two relationship. It's a bit difficult to sort of. I can understand why you need to watch it 2 or 3 times to get the atmosphere, because it's a wee bit jarring. I don't know whether it's down to the acting or the casting choices.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where the little girl who played her is called Elizabeth Deere. And I've seen her in something, and I've been trying to look what it is, and she hasn't been in very much at all. But yeah. But she lived in Cornwall at the end of her life, so yeah.
Yeah, from that. You find as well, a lot of these productions where friends and family as well were brought on to help, help out and got their minute of fame. And then probably never acted again from it. It was just a one-time thing.
Yeah.
But I did like the dream. We went through the dream itself, and once again, they did the clever thing, like with the Curse of Frankenstein, where they use the intro credits going through the actual movie.
Yeah, because it was actually quite a scary film. I must say, if I watched that as a lad, like I used to, I would have been frightened at the. I mean, just her dream, the initial opening scene. She was running away from, and then she was hearing voices, and it actually seemed like a dream. And of course she went into the room, and the door slammed behind her, and it was her mother in the room. And
You're going to end up like me, and that's
yes,
and the build up from nice and soft, the more insistent, the frantic, like the pacing of that, her mother's voice, was fantastic. It could have started off like wahaha, but they actually managed to pace the tone of her voice with the pacing in the corridor till she found it rolling with the credits. Now, that's a lot of work, especially on film. Like, this isn't done digitally. This is done on film.
Yeah.
That's a lot of artistry.
35 millimeter film it was done.
Yeah. So you're imposing that, and you're getting that all working so that it times perfectly with the music.
Yeah.
To finish with the intro and the dream sequence.
Yeah.
You don't get that level today, even with the aid of digital technology.
No.
It's worse today.
It's the sort of thing that is very hard to do. I mean, some people have tried it. In Trafalgar Square, they've had several productions where they've actually had the film on the big screen, and they've had the orchestra down below playing the soundtrack, trying to keep up with the.
Oh yeah, I've been to those. I've been to some of those a couple of times.
Yeah, they've done Battleship Potemkin. I think they've done a couple of the Lord of the Rings. It's like to get the music spot on. I mean, these days they got all the editing gear, haven't they? And
but they didn't have
back then. The music side of it was very in its prime stages, and
plus you can hear the phonograph.
Yeah,
you can actually hear the crackling of the phonograph in this.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, because this is a later one. Was this like an indie production, like a smaller production?
Yeah,
maybe for TV or something, because it
possibly
was it made and not released. With, like I said, we don't have the same access to information we do now.
Because it received its premiere 1 month before it was released around the country, and the premiere was in London. I read, and then a month later, it was April 1964 in London, and then in May 1964, it actually went on release. So, why that was, I don't know. Whether they were testing the audience or,
transport. They do that with premieres as well. They have there was a reason for like staggered releases, because the cast would go and do a premiere at various locations.
Yeah,
the worldwide ones. I think that was part of the reason initially for the world. Why films would be released at different times throughout the world, because it would have the LA premiere, the London premiere, the Paris premiere. So obviously to give the cast a chance to go and do that travel, they held back the releases in the various countries. But
because we used to get that with America, with the blockbusters, and released. They used to be released sometimes months in advance in America.
Yeah,
and then come over here.
But obviously that's irrelevant today. I don't believe in regional codes. I don't think it helps. In fact, it encourages piracy now, because it just got stupid. There's no reason to be holding back a release of a movie, especially when they do it on streaming now, and they'll release in the cinema at the same time as the streaming platform, and then they add the regional codes, and they wonder why nobody's interested in a movie, because people don't really talk in their locale anymore about movies.
No,
I've noticed that's one thing that's gone out of the workplace. It's gone out of like people go in the shop. People don't talk about the latest movie they've seen.
Mm.
People more talk online like we do about movies.
Yeah.
From all over the place. You know, we'll basically get in their little groups, which is can be a bad or a good thing. You know, it's fine, but people tend to like collect by genre of movie
Yeah.
and talk about them internationally. So
Yeah.
the old model of the summer blockbuster, which would be your generic action movie or horror movie, that's kind of gone
Mm.
because the general public don't do that anymore. Everyone's into their niche and they'll stay that. That's who they want to talk to. They want to talk to their peer group.
Yeah. I think things like the internet has not only had a positive effect, it's had a negative effect as well.
Oh yeah, it's swings and
If you
roundabouts.
think before the days of the internet, you and I would have had to talk. Oh, Colin, did you see that film? Have you seen such and such a film? Whereas now it's all over. You can just type in the name of the film on the net and see for yourself. Whereas you would have had to rely on me telling you that it was good in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, but that's I'd make an argument against that because that's kind of expanded onto this format. You know, podcasts weren't the thing, YouTube channels weren't the thing, and this has just become the new medium. Like I don't see this as being famous or celebrity.
No,
I see this as just a mechanism for
Yeah.
people to talk about movies. We just happen to be on talking about it, and people happen to be watching, but also people can join in, and that's a difference between.
Not saying about this. It's like all these bloody adverts you get. Oh, this film's but I mean, Hereditary. That's the thing. I had all these pop-ups saying how brilliant Hereditary was. It was in Total Film. How brilliant Hereditary was. So I thought, oh, there we go. It might be all right. I'll go and see it, and I laughed all the way through it. And it was just a terrible film. And but back in the 70s and 80s, if that was released back then, it would have been a case of going to see it first, and for me to express my own opinion after seeing the film. There would have been no people in my ear going, "This is brilliant! This is brilliant!" Gotta go and see this. In the promos and everything, and
almost puts you off.
You would have had to make up your own mind. I mean, you still can now, but you just gotta ignore what comes on the screen in front of you. Whereas we are doing it the other way around because we've seen the film and we're giving our opinions.
Yeah.
And dissecting the film,
which was not let's be honest, that was not a thing.
No.
And this is something I believe the studios are having a major issue with. Because if you think about it, the magazine is never going to tell you not to go see a movie.
No.
The magazine's always working for the corporation. I mean, it's the excess media, it's known as, and that's why it's down on its arse, because that was the thing. I believe there was more good than bad back in the day because they had to, because they would, if they got it wrong with the audience, that was the studio, they would go, I'm never watching a Warner Brothers movie again, I'm never watching a Paramount movie again, or I'm never watching a Spielberg movie again, because if they put out an absolute howler and everybody told you it was good, you wouldn't, the trust was gone. Now, the trust is completely gone now with the media, because look at Rotten Tomatoes as a good example. Look at the critic score versus the audience score. Never more in history have they ever been completely out of sync. It's either if the critics like it, the audience hate it, or vice versa. Like there's no happy medium anymore. Where before, if you were recommended like Empire used to be a good magazine. Now I liked Empire.
Empire, and it just suddenly changed into something
and that's when the talent went. I've said this has been an issue more. I think that you got the meritocracy went, and the chumocracy came in. You got nepotism all across the industry, not just with actors, but directors, journalists, people are being put into positions now because friend of a friend, family member of a family member, and this is not recent. This is like the tail end of all this, of decades. I'd say the last 20 years, things have slowly been degenerating. But we're now getting to the tail end of it, where change is about to happen. So it's accelerated. It's really ramped up because who's the most aggressive when they're about to lose their gigs? A grifter. If a con artist or a grifter is about to lose their gig, they're the ones that'll fight the most to keep it because they've nothing else. Somebody of talent loses their job or their thing, they'll just move on to something else. But if somebody relies, they've been put in a position, they know they don't deserve it deep down in the back of their head, they're going to fight to keep that going because they know once that's gone, they've nowhere else to go. If that makes sense. And they don't have a work ethic, so they couldn't demean themselves to work in a fast food chain or sweep a floor. It's just, and we're right now, I think, at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
And everything's been used to distract. They're using politics, they're using social commentary, they're using fan baiting, and they're using shilling, they're using edge. All the techniques that they're used to deflect from the fact that we don't have talented people in the entertainment industry anymore. Very few. Back then, there's a bit of a.
You say about you wouldn't go and see a Paramount picture if they produced a.
If you were told, if everything told you this is the best, and
the same happened with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Disney at its prime, and then dived drastically in, I think it was the 80s, wasn't it? And then suddenly they managed to claw their way back up.
They did it when they bought Pixar.
They're going the other way again.
Yeah. Their lifeline was Pixar.
Yeah.
When they bought Pixar, that was their lifeline, and it sort of brought them back to where they were, and then they squandered their chance.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of that's Bob Iger and his ego.
Yeah.
I found out why I threw Bob Chapek under the bus, because there was they were on a plane together to a meeting, and Bob Iger was giving his first presentation, and because he had the initial talk with the other Bob, and he went, "Okay, I'm good," and went back to read his notes, and Bob Iger didn't get to tell him basically what to say. That's why he instantly earned the hatred of him. Like, that's when you're leading by ego and not wanting the best product.
Yeah.
It's all about me, but that's just one example. This is 100 across the.
You take individually, it's what you were saying about companies on an individual basis. Now, if we take Amazon Prime, they put out these new films because they own MGM Studios now, don't they? They put out these new films every week. And there's been some real bad, awful ones, and and you think, oh my god, and we laugh now because when we're going through Amazon Prime looking for a film to watch, we like, oh god, oh god, oh god. One of the better ones we watched the weekend, was Red One, the latest film about Santa Claus being kidnapped. Feel good Christmas film, one of Amazon Prime's better ones. And you probably saw my Facebook post saying, if you want to watch a feel good film for Christmas, Red One. But they've had some real stinkers, and it just makes me so angry because you would think that instead of rushing out film after film after film after film that they've made, rather than they've made a good one with Red One, so concentrate and give it a bit more time before you release another one, and try and make it that little bit better, rather than next week they'll have another film up and it could be absolutely terrible. And it's the same with major studios, you like Paramount and everything like that. They're just putting out any type of rubbish and CGI'd, to the hilt, and CGI is doing away with talent, really.
Yeah, but that's what I said. There's no talent. Very,
No,
very little to no talent in the entertainment industry.
yeah,
And it's, you know what I mean, it's across the board. And it's a shame. But you see a movie like this, very little in the way of needing effects or anything else. It's a very
it's
practical movie. It's a psychological horror.
yeah, and it makes you wonder because when Psycho they used chocolate sauce or something for the blood, didn't they, on the black and white? And it makes you wonder whether they did the same in this one when the knife was sticking out
It
of.
was actually a very good effect. It was
Yeah, and
like they wouldn't show that
you
today. That would be panned away.
you actually not saw the stabbing, but it was close.
Yep, as close
You
as
saw
they could
the
get it.
arm going like that,
Yeah.
and it was a good effect. It was, and this is what it's lacking. But you could just imagine how they'd done it, and they would have had to get it so precise, and there was no like CGI to add the blood afterwards or
No
anything.
post production.
It had to be done there and then. So
And film was expensive.
yeah,
So they couldn't mess about. It's not like you can sit and do 100 takes
no,
or reshoots, which they do today.
yeah,
I almost think digital cameras almost ruined the film industry. Now to
yeah,
think about it,
yeah,
I'll always remember. Like I was a massive Hong Kong movie fan. Jackie Chan back in still fan of Jackie Chan. He's amazing.
yeah.
He's just ultra human. You know what I
Does
mean?
all his own stunts, doesn't he?
No, it's just everything. He's just
Yeah.
ultra human, and his work schedule as well just makes you ashamed. He works in 5 movies at the same time, doesn't stop. But there was a police story 1 or 2 where he does the jump from the shopping center down the Christmas tree.
Yeah,
So essentially, he's the one doing the stunt. The cameras are rolling. Like he said, he had like 10 cameras doing different shots. It was the last of the film. Once that stopped rolling, that was the amount of film they couldn't do anymore. Like physically, could not do any more for the movie.
yeah,
And it was the last sort of shot, before going into post production. And basically, he was still nervous about. He hadn't actually, they couldn't test because it was a Christmas tree. So there was no test shot or anything because that was basically one and done. And they're basically saying, right, you've got 10 seconds to do this jump. If you don't do it, it's not happening. And that has always stuck with me. Just the practicality and the physicality of doing it.
that's what made the classic actors.
Yeah.
We always keep on about Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee. They would have been under the same type of pressure to get it right, and because of that made them class actors. Just their presence on screen. Whereas nowadays, like you said, digital, they can say, muck that up, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again.
Right, the movie doesn't look good, let's go do another 200 million worth of reshoots.
Yeah.
You did not have it, because that's, actually, Flea and I were talking about this last night, we're over an anime. There's a difference between a stage actor and a movie actor.
Yeah.
And a voice actor, they're different, because we were talking about dubbing, why I don't watch dubbed movies. I prefer subtitles because at least you get the emotion of the actor. And for some reason, the people that do the dubbing, as opposed to being voice actors, they seem to be the low rent voice actors.
Dubbing is like, hello, how you doing? Yeah.
But also, especially lately, it's always in a Southern Californian accent, and it's always monotone as hell. There's no emotion on it. And there's one, The Blacksmith and the Devil. I always bring that up as an example. That's a German movie.
Yeah.
It's dubbed in the English, and it's medieval. It's set in medieval Germanic times, and everyone has a Southern Californian accent.
Yeah.
Using Americanisms, not speaking English, speaking dumb Yankistani as well. So they're going, hey, man, dude, that shit. And you're like, these are two medieval German children talking to each other, and they sound like the friggin' Californian high schoolers. And you're like, no, completely takes you out of it.
West End shows, like we went to see something, I forget what it was now. It was like wasn't a cartoon. It was like puppets used for things like butterflies and stuff like that.
Oh,
It was Chinese type thing.
I was in Spirited Away. You went to say?
Yeah, Spirited Away, and they had subtitles on the side.
Did you take my advice and get the back seats? Remember you were talking to me before
we
going?
did. Yeah,
Because if you sit too close to the stage, you are stuffed.
yeah,
You
yeah.
lose. You actually see the people running around in the
Yeah.
suits. But if it's where you have like the reverse. You know, normally you're trying to get like the middle to the front stage during a play. But with those sort of ones, you have to actually think in reverse. Almost you're better going up to the gods.
Yeah.
To watch because you get
we
better.
were more or less at the back. Yeah.
Yeah, and believe it or not, that's they should almost sell the tickets the other way around, make them the most expensive seats because you get the better show because you don't see the people and you don't see the sticks. Where what was that I want to say? And that's right, Lord of the Rings, early 2000s. They did the same sort of thing, and we stupidly got like middle to front seats.
Yeah,
and it was awful because you just saw the people in the onesies running about operating the puppets.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh shit, we should have started at the back.
Because we went to see another one, 12 row, something like that it was, and we were near the front, and we actually saw the black people, in the suits with the holding the puppets, but it didn't spoil it, but you knew they were there, but the storyline was brilliant, But this one with the subtitles on it, because it was in a foreign language. It wasn't in English. It was in a foreign language. Might have been Korean. Because I couldn't concentrate on the story because I was reading the subtitles. It sort of spoiled it for me, and I said to Co after I just didn't get that. Trying to read subtitles and put subtitles to the foreign actors speaking foreign, it was very hard work because they had subtitles either side of what the foreign actors were saying, and it was good, but
I've never seen that during a stage play before, I have to say. That's a new one.
Yes, I'm just trying to think what it was Spirited Away, I think. It's just like on the side, either side. And of course, if you don't speak the language and you're going like this, and then by the time you get back after reading it,
where the difference on a movie is subtitles are across the bottom.
At the bottom,
and you can immerse. I don't see how to do that in a stage play without having a big banner going across.
I know. Yeah. This is what got it for me. I just think.
No, because I can picture you're doing that, and you're doing that, you're doing that, you're doing that.
Yeah, the costumes were fantastic in it, and in the stage sets and everything. But it was hard work to keep up with. But, especially since I didn't. It wasn't Spirited Away.
That was a last sort of puppet show, is that the right term? Because it seems a bit more than the puppet show, because it's full, like they're full body animatronics.
I'm just gonna.
Well, there's Chris on. All right, man. No, if we were to talk about our ex-wives, this would be a 10-hour stream, and you'd all be crying. The audience would all be in tears. Nobody needs that. But yeah, this is good old classic storytelling, classic movie.
Yeah.
Like I said, my only issue was Janet's character and her relationship with Mary, because in the school, she was almost rude. She was coming across as quite snippy and rude.
Yeah.
Which I didn't get, because the minute she stepped out of the school gates and like when John picked them up in the car, I would imagine her being frosty, but she's like treated John and Mrs. Gibbs like family.
Yeah.
So the persona she had in the school didn't quite match up. No, it was almost like she was trying to be the rebel. You know, she's off on her own, listening to her radio and trying to be like almost punk rock.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite fit. And then when Mary went with her to escort her, which seemed a bit strange considering she was being picked up by the family driver.
Yeah.
I
He's
suppose
yeah, it's a lovely car.
absolutely.
Rolls Royce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The yeah, I just like I said, she overacted, and she's but yeah, she saw this what she thought was her mother, and then or the lady in white, wasn't it, going around, and I thought it was pretty good. The lady in white pulled the mask off.
Oh my god, that was brilliant.
And I thought for 1964, that was a good storyline. That was,
but also that
the mask. It wasn't your standard like we had the Mummy, didn't we, with the old
which was awful.
Master of Paris. You know,
This was good.
It was actually one that you could have said was like one of the rubber.
Do you know what made me? Do you know Mission Impossible?
Yeah,
yeah, it was almost that level of like detail, and you're like, bloody hell, that is some effort, and you're just throwing it in the fire. I suppose once that comes off, that's the whole problem with it. You know, once that comes off, it's done.
Yeah, they could have made two of them, could they?
No,
you would have had to film that and then ditch it afterwards. But
no, you can't reapply those. That's the problem with those sort of prosthetics. They all just have to come off, and that's why people sit in the makeup chair for like 5 hours before you know, and they basically do 18-hour days because you got to get the most out of that.
It takes hours to get on, doesn't it?
Yeah, 5 hours. They spend 5.5 hours in the makeup chair.
1 minute scene or something.
And that's always the thing. As the film goes on, it gets less. They get more proficient at it, so it takes less time. But you're still spending 3 odd hours just getting ready.
Yeah.
God, I have enough trouble getting washed and shaved. Get ready for work. Never mind bloody putting on prosthetics.
But no, I thought that was very good for the time. Yeah, old Janet gets put in the asylum after stabbing what she thinks is, well, lady in white, wasn't it? Who she was going around scaring everybody. And
I suppose we kind of jumped on a bit. I think we need a better premise. Janet arrives home, so she's been having these nightmares. She's been highly strung, and it turns out it's because of the trauma. So she can't stay at school anymore. She's going home. She comes back to the house, and for about 10 minutes is all about where's Henry, where's Henry. I was starting to think Henry was a figment of her imagination, or he was going to be some sort of mystery reveal.
You didn't actually see him. You didn't actually see him, did you?
Yeah, there was enough reference to him, but as if he was some sort of specter in the background. But then he finally appears, and it turns out he's just a pervert.
Yeah.
I had to look this up because she's at a finishing school, so she'd be 17. The age of consent in the UK at the time still is, but heterosexual was 16. It sounds as if her and Henry, because the way Henry kissed her was a bit.
Yeah.
He's been skating on thin ice for over a year. Like, that's not right. He's effectively been her guardian for 6 years. Because this happened when she was 11.
And she was like besotted with him, really, wasn't she?
No, but I mean, he was like returning the favor. It's almost as if they were getting up the shenanigans. And I'm like, bloody hell, that is close to the knuckle.
Yeah. Just quickly, it was Spirited Away, Co says, for that I had the subtitles.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd watched the film previous to that, but trying to.
Because that's an anime.
Yeah.
That's an old school anime.
Yeah.
I think that was the same director that Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah. Oh.
Don't quote me on that. I think it was the same director.
Going back to
I think that was his second movie. But yeah, that was we'll see straight away that Henry's up to no good whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, he is the villain of the story. Like, that moment alone with her in bed and him finally arriving and kneeling and like full on kissing her and stuff and that, and it looks as if this has been going on, for a bit. You're like, I
Yeah.
had to start getting the calculator out and working ages.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, that's not right. That's
And for its day, that would have been seen as very.
that's burning at the stake.
Yeah.
That's disowned family type stuff.
Yeah.
Today they're trying to normalize it as if it's all right. Because they're fucking weirdos. Because kids aren't allowed to be kids.
No.
But yeah, that is that. I was sort of going, oh dear, that's not good, right? This is not a good person, and it was an effective scene. Like, there was nothing graphic happened, but you got told everything you needed to know. Hmm?
Yeah. I said imagination.
Yeah, that's it. Your mind,
Yeah.
it lays a scene and lets your mind fill in the blanks. It doesn't telegraph to you.
Yeah.
But in that moment, Henry's not a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And things aren't going to go well. And you sort of fill in the blanks what's going on in the house.
Yeah.
You kind of know where it's going. So this isn't a supernatural drama.
No.
No, and that's fine. You know, and
You
it's
sort of guess. Oh, what is the? Well, it kept you on the edge of your seat, wondering what the end product was going to be, didn't it? And you were thinking. So this is where I said to you, I had to watch bits of it over and thinking, what the hell is happening? Something's happening here, and something's not quite right. And of course, Janet gets shoved in the asylum, doesn't she?
no. Did she go?
No.
No, she was only going to go to a sanatorium first of all.
Yeah,
because this has been playing out over a few weeks.
Yeah.
She's seeing these visions. She's getting more distraught. We've got, and that's where I'm talking about the Mary dynamic, because when Mary was going to head back, she was like, "Oh, do you have to?" And I'm like, "You have been nothing but an absolute bitch towards her.
Yeah.
Like, you have been really snippy and rude. Why the sudden flip with the switch?
Yeah,
it didn't make sense. That's a bit where, like I said, the only part of this whole story that I couldn't get my head around was Janet's behavior, and I think it's purely down to her acting, ability.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it all leads up. Henry introduces his wife, or what was it, her birthday? It was her birthday, wasn't
it? Yeah.
And
she stabbed her.
It was the same night. It was all led up. You can kind of see where it was going, because the same cake, the same knife, and I don't know. Yes, she was seeing. It wasn't the mask of her mother.
Janet's imagination was seeing. She'd previously seen a figure, hadn't she?
But it wasn't her mother.
No,
it was the wife. The mask was the wife's face with the scar, because this happened when Janice was 11. She was traumatized. She probably forgot her own mother's face. And then a thing I always say, I put up here was, why didn't Janet ever get brought to meet her mother? Like, that would have been a cathartic thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Or would it traumatize her more? I don't know. Would have her been taken to visit her mother?
The thing that made me laugh on that scene was she stabbed her. Now, anyone in their right mind would have tried to save the person who was stabbed. They didn't. They all stood around going, "Oh,
yeah,
you killed her."
They're all so casual about it. Like, that's taking stiff upper lip to the next level.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't even try to save the staff victim. This day and age, they would have sort of put all bloody,
No, people would be standing with their phones.
Yeah.
If you think about it, today people would just stand with their phones going,
yeah,
and not do anything.
Let's put it on TikTok.
Yeah, I'll get a few views for this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you even see the knife in what turns out to be Henry's wife, and got even back. That would have been graphic.
Yeah.
That would have been like seeing that in the cinema would have been like, whoa.
I thought Henry's wife was more convincing at being that little going mad than Janet. I felt, like I said, Janet was overacting, and
yep.
Grace appeared to be that little bit more relaxed about going.
I think she's a bit more of a seasoned actor.
Yeah. And
like I said, that's the only bit, and it wasn't the storyline. I think just Janet's acting ability derailed us a bit because she's not a strong actor.
No.
And you could see it with the other actors, knowing the cast. She was kind of the weak link.
Yeah. But perhaps she. What was Janet? And she was Jenny Linden. She was 64. No, she was 25 years old. I thought now 59. She was 25 years old when she started in the film.
Another teenager. that's the flip side. It's good to see the horror trope even went back then. The mid-20s teenager, like in a slasher movie.
That's right, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's, you just go
25-year-old schoolgirl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. You're straight away in your brain. When you can't tie those things up, this doesn't look right. It derails you a bit, but thankfully the cinematography in this for the day is amazing. It's really crisp. And the scenes, like even the transition between scenes, like I didn't get any sense of juddery, of being juddery or camera shake or like bad editing or, really pristine.
I couldn't see any mistake. There were shadows. There were some shadows of, like boom mics and things like that, but nothing that you could actually say it was a total mistake. You sort of look quickly and you'd miss it. So they were obviously aware of it. They couldn't reshoot, like we said, because the film, but they were aware that it was coming in too close, and you sort of it went like that. So
I genuinely get the feeling that there's effort put into this movie.
Yeah,
I genuinely feel it, and it's, me, I'm critical. If I don't think there's effort being put in, I switch off and don't care. I feel like they're actually genuinely trying to make a good atmospheric horror here.
Yeah,
and it worked. Like I was on board. Yes, it kind of got telegraphed where the story was going, but I didn't mind because I wanted to, like yourself, I wanted to see how it played out, because when this happens with Janet, like halfway through the movie, it wasn't the ending. It was like halfway through, you're like, oh, there's more of a story here.
This is what I was saying to you. When I watched it 3 times, because I thought, hold on, they've more or less done away with Janet here.
Mm-hmm.
How's it gonna
resolve itself? Oh, here's the real story.
What's happened to Janet? And that's why I thought, I'll watch that again.
And so after that happens with Janet, so basically they set Janet up to kill Henry's wife. And then we find out that's what the mask was. The mask wasn't of her mother, the mask was of Henry's wife. And it was all, like, if you think about it, there's PSYOPs agents do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Puts subliminal messages and stuff. There's a whole psychology behind that. It's fascinating. So she's been primed. Like, this must have been, obviously it's a movie, but this is not just overnight. This has been going on for weeks. They've been priming her. Sleep deprivation, imagery, revisiting trauma.
Yeah.
Using the doll, even things like using the doll and stuff. Just like, all this is set up so that at that moment when Henry's wife appeared, she would snap. And even as far as the same cake as her birthday and the same knife.
Yeah.
Like, you would think if you had an ounce of sense, you would do something different. You wouldn't have it all, but it was all set up so that when all those pieces fell into places, Janet would stab Henry's wife, and then you just think, God, that is dark.
It is very.
That is to use the trauma of a young girl to also hint that you're romantically interested in the young girl, to prime her that way, and then to actually destabilize her mind.
Well, get rid of two, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. You're getting it was a 2-for-1 shot.
Got taken away by the authorities, and,
Yep.
and the other one gets stabbed.
Henry wins. The only problem is, to keep his co-conspirator on side, he has to marry her.
Yeah.
So he finds himself stuck with Grace, who it turns out they're not nice people. They're not happy with each other. They're almost a victim of circumstances, because he couldn't just pay her off. She would want more.
Yeah, because
there wouldn't be enough to pay her off.
She more or less said, "Oh, come here," didn't it? I'm going down the bar.
Yeah. So the bit of fun, the
action, was it?
Yeah. And also think as well, he's a reminder of he can't play Lord of the Manor because he's with her, and the staff, everybody knows. Like, it's so obvious that the wife's not even cold in the grave, and he's marrying the nurse.
Yeah.
Like, that's got to stick in the back of the mind, a reminder of what he's done. So he can't just brush it off and play Lord of the Manor as if it was all an unfortunate incident. She's a daily reminder of what he did. And there's that resentment between the two of them. And yeah, like you said, these two, after the effect, play off much better.
Yeah. Have we got another message?
Yeah, watching more movies with critical eye. I've noticed most actors' abilities fluctuate significantly between films. It's a whole melting pot of elements. That's why the term lightning in a bottle. There's some movies that have become classics that have no business working whatsoever, and it just happens to be the right elements. Some movies have been given all the right elements and fail miserably because it just didn't mix together. It's like old school alchemy. If you think, the chaos of alchemy back in the day of trying to discover if you add this and you add that, but it's the wrong temperature, it goes boom. That's entertainment. That's entertainment as a whole. You can have the exact same setup, the same script, everything else, but just something lands or doesn't land with people. You just got to do the best you can. But one thing I've started to notice as I look at these movies over the years, the intent. I can almost feel the intent to make a good movie as opposed to just dialing it in. You can feel when a movie's just been thrown together and nobody gives it to us.
A lot of them of today's just been
that's why I'm completely checked out of most. Like, if I wasn't doing horror movies for the channel, but even then, there's loads of horror movies that have come out I don't even bother watching because I'm just like, meh, no interest.
Yeah,
because I know it's just been thrown out there. There's no intention to entertain. It's just we must create product. Next product gets shoved out to get funding for future product and stay in job. It's nothing to do with entertaining anymore, and it's sad. But at least that's a good thing about looking back here. But it was still happened back then. Like, we've covered some stinkers, and it's just obvious that they were throwing movies together. So it's not a unique thing to today's era.
No. But you get the feeling that the studios feel they've got to get a film out. They've had this one, and they've got to get. If you take, for instance, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3. I mean, Terminator 1 was original. It was very good. Terminator 2 was sort of an upgrade. Terminator 3 was the fans were calling for the story to be continued.
The future war. They wanted the future war.
Yeah, and they come up with a piece of crap. Just because they thought they could make a bit of money off it.
There's an example, actually. The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I don't know if you watched that series.
No.
Helena Headley and Summer Glau. I can't remember the fellow that played John, but it's basically the events after Terminator 2.
Right.
And they played it on, and they sort of jump between the present and the future.
Right.
On the surface of it, like, it takes about 2 or 3 episodes to get into. On the surface of it, it looks like a lazy cash grab. 3 episodes in and you're hooked. It's actually better. Once again, that's an example of elements, just people playing off each other. just the setting and some of the themes it covered actually made the story, expanded the lore, made it more engaging.
Yeah.
There's one I'm going to be covering, Terminator Zero, which is an anime. Come out recently there.
Yeah.
Flea and I are going to cover it in our anime spot. It's set in Tokyo as opposed to America, and it's given the effects of Skynet on the world from the Tokyo perspective, and it plays out really good, really engaging show. So things like that have done better than the actual tentpole movies, because
Yeah.
after the second one they just dialed it in, and I wanted to like Salvation. I
Yeah.
wanted to like that, but it was awful. It was, the plot was so twisted and convoluted. It was like, why are you doing all this? Genesis broke me. I give
Oh.
up. After Genesis, I give up. I'm
Awful.
like, I'm out. I didn't even watch, what was the other one? Dark Fate. I didn't even watch that one because after watching Genesis, I
That was
was like,
even more awful, I'll tell you.
I didn't even bother. It's like everyone's talking about Prey as a good movie,
Yeah.
but The Predators broke me. When I watched The Predator, I gave up. I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Prey was good.
But it doesn't matter. The damage was
Mm.
done to me with the previous movie. I just gave up. I'm just like, nah, can't do it anymore. I think Alien Romulus has finished me with the Alien movies. I think I'm just like, I can't do this anymore.
No.
So
there's another one coming out.
the TV series comes out in the new year. I have no interest. I have no
Alien
interest.
Earth.
Alien Earth, yeah. I've no excitement for it because I'm just like, I see where they don't care anymore.
No.
And this is back to this movie. I had a feeling they cared while making this.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I think the black and white just made it, it just topped it.
Well, if the Technicolor does, it would ruin it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You wouldn't have had the same effect. Like you said, film noir. It was. It had to be black and white this to get the effect.
Shadows, the dream sequence, the transition. It just there's a crispness to it. Like it really felt crisp and new, like this.
Yeah, even down as far as color clothes. If you had the different color clothes in this, on it wouldn't have had the same effect because you got the black and white. And the lady in white, the one with the mask and everything, it just made it that little bit more. It was scary. It was a scary film.
It's proper. Like I said, we know you're not. It's not hidden from you that Janet is being played with. You get no hint whatsoever that there's a spirit. You know almost immediately that she is being set up. And the fact that it happens early in the movie, that's not the main storyline. The storyline is guilt. Two people that hate each other that have found themselves bound together because of a crime they committed, and revenge. And that's the second half of the movie, and it really plays out.
Yeah, she thinks that Henry's seeing someone else, doesn't he? And,
but is that not the thing? If somebody comes into a marriage, like if somebody's comes into a marriage through an affair, two people have an affair and they get married, there's always that mistrust there anyway, because of how they come into it. So if it happened to them, it could happen again. Yeah. And that's always in the back of people's minds. So that's playing out on that.
I like when the barman put his foot in it, didn't he? He come down and he went, "Oh, you have this drink, don't you?" And she went, "No, I've never been here before."
God, Pernod. Oh, I was like,
you've been here before, bang.
Yeah, but that was quite genius as well.
Yeah,
because when we find out what that's all about, really good. But then that's once again, we'll see what happened in the first. So this is the same thing happening all over again.
Yeah,
and the fact that they didn't understand the game being played shows that their own guilt, has messed with them as well. They're not as clever as they think they are. And it's not so much being able to carry out the act, it's dealing with the consequences.
Yeah.
Because even in the household, she's not looked on as a mistress. Even the staff, the way they treat her,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. She can have the title of mistress of the house, but the staff looked down on her. She was the help, the hussy,
Yeah.
and that's playing in the back of her mind too, because she's having a
Yeah.
meltdown all on her own just because she couldn't walk away.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like she could take 10 grand or something and walk away.
But even when she was asking, about the knife, wasn't it? And the driver goes, "Oh yeah, he borrowed it yesterday,"
Yeah.
and setting her up, something rotten. But very psychological and mind game.
Yeah, and that's a horror in itself. Yeah, actually, funny enough, talking about this last night because it was about a dream, about somebody invading other people's dreams. That's one of the most frightening things. That's why conditions like dementia,
Yeah,
and that are so debilitating and so terrifying, because that's somebody losing their grip in reality, and people watching somebody, the person that they used to know, not be there anymore.
yeah,
I saw it with my grandfather and my father, so I mean, I can give firsthand that the person you once knew is no longer there.
no,
But imagine, like, we can't imagine unless you've been there. What these films do well is show you what it potentially could be like losing your grip. Like, what you think's real is no longer real, and if you don't have the basics of that's a desk, that's a microphone, or I mean, is this real? Is it not real? If you start messing with those fundamentals of the human psyche, you unravel very quickly.
yeah,
When's day, when's night? If you start getting into that, you don't know when's day or when night. That's why things like I mentioned sleep deprivation, so you don't have a sleep cycle, or if you don't let somebody see the cycle of the day, so they don't know when it's morning, afternoon, night, you can mess with someone.
yeah.
It's pure horror because it's real.
There's
It's something that can happen to
a
us
lot
all.
of, I mean, they could call it domestic abuse these days, when where the husband controls the wife, it's continued, isn't it? It's out there now. It's the sort of thing that happens even now, and probably not as deep as getting her to murder someone, but
No, but it happens. I mean, there's abuse and all sorts. And these are two people that have no business being together. It was alright for a fling, but they're not. They're both toxic individuals.
Yeah.
And they were only ever going to self-destruct because that's just their nature.
Yeah. He more or less forced himself onto the knife himself, didn't he? She was holding it, and he went.
Oh, that was
onto it.
like I say, and it's not until the 1970s. It was Bruce Lee brought the Hong Kong action, action over the mainstream movies, Western movies. Up until then, apart from sword fights, the only time Western movies get it right are sword fights. But actual fighting or action scenes, no. It's just something lacking.
Bruce Lee had a vegetarian brother, didn't he? Broccoli. No, Colin. Forget about the past. You can't change it. Don't forget about the present, because I ain't got you one.
Damn it. And this stream dissolves into pure horror of Steve's jokes. Oh, dear, man. Yeah, that whole scene, just busy priming Grace the same way they primed Janet. And you think there's somebody going around the house and all. And I thought Quentin Tarantino was directing this for a bit.
Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah. Because we had all the lingering foot shots, the bare foot shots going about. I'm like, is Quentin Tarantino behind the camera here?
Yeah. That's probably where he got it from.
Yeah, he's probably watched this and he's like, oh, yeah, I'll have some. But yeah.
It's the sort of movie he would watch, actually, because he's... You probably find he's a 60s horror fan.
What was it? So they basically have somebody going about in a night dress as if it was Janet, and they think Janet's escaped from the asylum when they rung up. And I'm sort of scratching my head going, hold on, man. She's a dangerous criminal.
Yeah.
She's been locked up as a dangerous criminal who stabs somebody randomly to death.
Yeah.
And there's no police bulletins. There's no police at the door. Something, and they're so casual about it, as if, she escaped. Yeah,
we'll let her
go. She'll turn up eventually. We're looking for her. And you're kind of like, no, that's not right. So I was sort of sus that something was going on there. Yeah. And they're basically playing it out as if Janet is in the house, setting things up. That's what Grace is thinking anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, she's thinking Janet's after her, isn't she?
Yeah.
Guilt complex, really, wasn't
That's it. It's the guilt of, like those two should have parted ways. They shouldn't have got married afterwards. That was their downfall.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's how it played out. But yeah, that whole scene with the knife.
We can move into the house because I'm the executor.
Yeah.
It's his, so he didn't last very that long after that, did he?
No. But yeah, that whole scene with Janet and Henry, it was like, huh? Yeah. Like he did jump onto the knife. Like there was no tussle or anything.
It was Grace, wasn't it? Grace and Henry.
Grace and Henry.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine if she's holding her knife like this, why would you move forward? Yeah. Never mind.
Plus, didn't he have a tray or something?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a tray with his tea? Like both. Yeah. I'll see your knife with a silver tray. Bang. But once again, action movies were. That's one thing these old movies they lack, and they don't get the action because it just wasn't a thing.
No.
And also, they couldn't do it with the camera because once again, it was Bruce Lee when he played Kato in the Green Hornet TV show.
Right.
He did some of his moves, and they had the camera couldn't keep up with him.
Yeah.
Because of the frame rate, the speed it was going. So the technology wasn't there until, like I said, late 70s, 80s. 80s was almost a renaissance in movie making. Now that's where everything fell into place.
Yeah.
But also fell off as well because it just went cheesy. It just went too daft. People got too comfortable. I think we'll see it sort of mid 80s, the early 90s. People got too comfortable thinking they didn't have to work hard anymore.
Yeah.
And we've seen it ever since. The general.
Well, the special effects started to come in properly in the 80s. If you take Terminator again, you had Stan Lee, didn't you? His group of people who were working hard on robot type things. And, you think of the Stan Lee students, they took an awful lot off the Ray Harryhausen style of things. Because he used to be the stop motion monsters and everything, didn't he? In the old Sinbad films and
Sinbad and Jason the Argonauts. I think I was.
Which had Stan Lee then come in, and he was doing the sort of monsters, but in a very sort of technical way, and that's the same now. You don't get people like that in modern day because it's all computers, and if you take that back to
that's why the indie movie. That's why we're seeing
this movie that they could have if there was a monster in it, they could have used Ray Harryhausen, but there wasn't.
Yeah.
So it had to rely on its own merits of, they filmed it in black and white. And how are we going to do blood? Well, Hitchcock done it as chocolate sauce. Let's try it.
Because it's the right consistency. But if it was on
color, actually looked the part. Because they would have said, "Oh, it worked for how are we going to do blood? Well, it worked for Hitchcock in
Take inspiration.
Psycho as chocolate sauce. Let's try that. And
But that only works in a black and white medium.
Yeah.
That's one thing with Hammer movies. The blood they use, the paint is too bright.
Oh, the red.
Yeah, it's
that just wouldn't have worked. It's like I said, if it was a color movie,
yeah, and they'd done that, it would have been
wouldn't have worked. It would have been laughable, and it just wouldn't have. I think they've done very, very well making this black and white.
Yeah. I just love the way the staff and Mary comes back, and they basically explain to Grace how they've set her up.
Yeah.
And then just go through plot by plot, Oh, let's ring the asylum now. Oh, yeah. She's on a road to recovery. I mean, she'll be back in the house. Haha. Yeah, that was me. And blah, blah, blah. They just explain everything.
Yeah. Yeah. But she would have got out of the asylum pretty quick, wouldn't she?
But that's the thing.
Murder.
Because she was committed.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
She wasn't arrested or anything.
She was committed. So, therefore, if she was deemed...
These days, it would have been a hospital order. And you could be out after 6 months for something like that under a hospital order.
Sure, there's people getting let out after 6 months. We don't want to get into this, but people getting let out after 6 months for like macheting people, and you're like, all right, okay. Let's not go there. That's freaking depress you. What's going on today? It's all mad. But I think Grace at the end tried to do the Janet style overacting.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the only bit where she let it go. She was doing brilliantly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, did the director say go for it?
Yeah, just let it all loose. Yeah. But it was almost like all the staff, because Mary appears back and they're all like talking to each other while she's having a meltdown. It's almost like they're just going, well, we did this while she's already flipped out.
Yeah.
Realizing her life's over.
She's already gone mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's going to get done anyway for stabbing old Henry.
Yeah. And there's 3 witnesses.
Yeah. Yeah. And she even if she did say, they've just said this, they would have gone,
no, 3 against 1.
Oh, William said that she's going loopy. She stabbed her old man, and
there's fingerprinting back in the day.
They believe,
yeah.
So.
And then the fact that she was the hired help who mysteriously married Henry not so long after the wife died, like that would have been in society back then. That was like, oh dear.
That was an MO if ever it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So
do you know what MO stands for?
Modus operandi.
Yeah.
I'm not completely thick,
No, I didn't say you were. It's just the number of people who don't know what it stands for, and they use it, and they.
Yeah, it's Latin. Just the acts, the certain acts that people carry out. The habitualization. It's
the why, where, and when.
Mm-hmm.
It's in my new book, by the way, Modus Operandi.
All right, now, folks.
Yeah, ladies of the night.
Pluggity plug.
Yeah. Buy it.
Do it.
Yeah. In the words
of up as well.
In the words of Jeff Dunham, if you don't buy it, I kill you.
I kill you till you die from it. There you go. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And there's something you don't see today, either loyal staff or like a sense of loyalty, because that's completely gone.
They actually want Janet back, don't they?
Yeah.
It's they've done this because of what you've done to Janet. It's
but was that not the thing as well with like old school houses? Like the staff were the place, but it was almost hereditary themselves. Like they were part of the household.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an honor to work for them.
Yeah, well, if you think of the perfect thing was Michael Caine's character in Batman, Alfred. Perfect, wasn't it? He was treated as part of the family, and I think servants back then were they went in and became like part of the family because the the head of the house would always rely on them,
there was
because
an ecosystem.
they kept their mouth shut.
Yeah, there was an ecosystem. It was like a clan, or the household that represented something, didn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, well, that's gone now as well. There's another thing. Suits. I think we should bring suits back.
Suits.
Yeah, blazers and.
See, I'm quite the opposite on that.
I don't know. There's something about a nice cut blazer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like I would wear them, but you look like you stick it like a sore thumb today. You look like a Wally.
Oh, you would, yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. But I like something about people. Just that bit of like even back the working class as well. Everyone like wore suits of just different degrees of cut and material.
You see them, sort of the next generation up from me, when they sort of go to town, they'll wear shirt and tie still, and just for simple things like going shopping and
oh yeah, and the V-neck, the V-neck sweaters and that.
Yeah, strange. Yeah,
I like the idea of your out and about clothes and you're dusting about the house sort of wear. I've always liked that idea that you have your work clothes, what you present yourself when you're going out, and you should be a bit of an effort. And then when you come back and you're relaxed and you have that, I've always still tried to maintain that as I'm wearing a hoodie because it's cold.
My dad was a scruff ball. He's because he was a painter and decorator. He was always in overalls, and he'd come home and take his overalls off, and he'd sit there in his bloody painted stuff, and then go up for his bath. But on a Sunday, you wouldn't recognise him. He was like shirt, tie, and used to go to church, and you'd think, oh my God, it's a different person.
Yeah.
It's not my dad.
But I don't know. I like that. It was one of Henry's. It wasn't his initial. He's wearing a wool suit at the start, but then he transferred over to a blazer later on, before he went and got married again. And I just like the cut of the blazer and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. There's something about that. I like that sort of style. Be nice if it sort of came back, at least for going out or something. You know what I mean? I hate the fact now there's no real difference between going out and staying in. You see bars and people are in jeans and trainers and a t-shirt, and it just might be a branded t-shirt that costs 50 quid, but it's still a t-shirt.
Yeah. Chris has been reading my joke book. I've been telling that one for about 10 years, Chris.
Yeah.
Get your own bloody jokes.
Yeah. Is that still your best-selling book?
Oh, it is. Yeah. No, Mist on the Mountain's now the best.
Was that the one that's up the post?
Yeah. But the joke book just went like, oh my God. Everyone's buying the joke book. Nobody's buying a Dish Best Served Code. I even had a Indian guy comment on it, or Pakistani, something like that it was, commented on it saying, some of the jokes are quite bare knuckle, but yeah. Chris, buy my joke book.
But there you go. Actually, we need to. What have we got next? What have we got coming up?
But yeah, watch this film and be impressed with it, really. It's very, very good for a Hammer installment. It's best one they've done for a while, really.
Yeah, because there's been a lot of misses.
Yeah.
This next we've got up is Fanatic. Yeah, that's another one. It could be, or otherwise known as Die Die My Darling. So that's one with multiple.
Who directed that one then?
Well, I need to look. Fanatic 1965. Or Die Darling. Die My
But,
Darling
yeah,
was directed by Silvio Narazano.
yeah,
Silvio Narazano. A young
yeah,
woman is terrorized by her deceased fiance's demented mother, who blames her for her son's death.
yeah.
And we're back to colour.
The
Oh, this
writers,
looks like something out of the 70s.
yeah, the writers, were Richard Matheson and
And
the
Blaisdell.
Anna Blaisdell, who wrote Nightmare, the novel Nightmare. So she actually wrote the novel of this film we've been discussing tonight.
Oh,
So
cool. So I was like, remember at the start, they had Robert Bloch, or that
yeah,
was Amicus, wasn't it? They had Robert Bloch writing a lot of them, and you could
yeah,
tell the difference between the Robert Bloch episodes and the other ones.
yeah, yeah. Because he actually wrote Psycho, of course.
Mm-hmm. That looks like it's yellow.
Yeah,
I'm seeing the trailer here coming up, and it looks like a yellow movie.
yeah.
God, they're shooting each other and everything.
Oh, Stephanie Powers. Do you remember
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Powers? She
God.
was Heart to Heart.
Oh
Do you
my
remember that?
god, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. Well, she's in this
Yeah.
movie. Peter Vaughan, very classic actor. Yeah. Eutha Joyce. Do you remember
Donald Sutherland.
Eutha Joyce was in Georgia Mildred?
Yep.
She was Mildred. Donald Sutherland, yeah.
Yeah.
This has got a super cast.
Henry McGee. No. Philip Gilbert. Gwendolyn Watts. No photo. Not.
Henry McGee, yeah.
Yeah, not. Oh, she was in Carry On Matron. Gwendolyn Watts.
Yeah.
Francis. Oh God, yes. I'm like, yep. Gwendolyn
Who
Watts is in this. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It looks a bit full on and crazy by the trailer. It looks like it's going to be like full on action.
Yeah. It's quite a long film for a Hammer film, isn't it? 137.
Yeah, because most of these are coming in at the 120 mark, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting one to see. It looks like it's pure psychological horror again.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm seeing. Oh, yeah, we're seeing like the effects here. It looks like a yellow movie. The raised eye, jangling the keys, the raised eyebrow.
Young woman is terrorized by her deceased fiance's demented mother, who blames her for her son's death.
There you go. The monster-in-law strikes again.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be doing next, folks. We'll need to look at the dates because obviously it's that time of year, so we'll need to have a wee bit of jiggery pokery.
It's probably going to be 3 weeks, isn't it? Well, we're away for Christmas. Or Boxing Day, actually, we go away. Yeah, we'll look at that.
We will figure it out. But there you go, folks. There's another one. That was, go check out the movie. It's great. Old school. Like, they really put an effort in. And also, I'm looking forward to this one. This looks like it's going to be full on.
Yeah.
So,
it's another one I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because we're doing all the series, we're finding all these movies that weren't put on TV.
Yeah. I've never seen this one on TV.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah.
Actually, just looking at the trailer, I think it might be a bit full on for TV. Like, there's people getting stabbed with scissors and shot in the face and stuff. So, I don't think they put that on TV back in the day.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look now if it's the same sort of thing where there's only one copy with a BFI, like in the last one. I can't see anything.
Could be.
It was the main character, Tallulah Bankhead, it was her last ever movie because 3 years later she died.
Oh, shame.
So, yeah.
Oh well, there you go, folks. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and those who took part in the chat, all that good stuff. It's great to have you, and we shall be back with
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry
Remember,
Christmas.
before you think of yourself all the time, think of poor Santa Claus, because he only comes once a year.
Until next time, folks, things, and remember to keep it horrific.